Welcome, everyone. I am Dolores. Welcome. How are you today? It is so good to see you guys. Listen, we are continuing to read. Read with me we're reading Unstoppable by Dr. Cindy Trimm. We're here today excited, truly excited from the last read with me. Oh my goodness. We are super excited because we've been diving into the book and searching out and grabbing these secrets from this kingdom leader, this very powerful kingdom leader, Dr. Cindy Trimm, which told us at the beginning of this book, don't compete with others. We're already winners. Let's compete with the best version of ourselves. We're going to get right to it. We're not going to waste any more time. This is Read With Me number 5, and let's get started on page number 55. Walking the talk. That is the difference between authenticity and false fronts, between an integrated life and one that's fractured and compartmentalize, your core values can only empower you if you live them daily, in the day in and day out. This is what living your truth is all about. And I'm going to tell you right now, living with your values as your practice priorities can be challenging. Ariana Huffington says that even though she knows her core values and how they support her definition of true success, it's easy to slip into old habits of being overscheduling in life and miss the real point of our lives even as we're living them. Wow, she's right. No matter who you are or how much you've accomplished, authenticity, which requires living true to your core values. She spoke about the core values in read number 4. So now we're going to dig a little bit deeper and understand how we must be true to our core values and have positive core values as well. Let's continue. Okay, which requires living true to your core values, is a constant choice that requires courage and practice. It takes work, but isn't it empowering to know you have that choice? Okay. Yes, living with your core values as your guide and gold standard will take focus and energy. And there will be times when you will fall short of your best intentions. We need to understand that. Everything is not going to go perfectly. We need to understand that sometimes regardless of our best intentions, things happen. Okay, let's continue. Even if you are fully committed to living an authentic, integrated life, you wouldn't be human otherwise, right? When those inevitable scenarios occur, pick yourself up, admit the mistake, ask for forgiveness from others and or yourself, and move forward, she says. Does this activity, okay, wait, let me read it out again, and move forward. Then the next time you're faced with a decision, ask yourself, does this activity through choice align with my core values? If so, wonderful. Press on. However, if the activity or its outcome does not reflect your most important values and lead you closer to the life you desire, politely refuse. Literally say, no, thank you. Okay? Remember, each authentic choice you make aligns you with a life that is fully integrated, she says, complete, whole, and undivided. Okay, page number 56. Winning actions. What do you value? She says, your core values are the principles and standards by which you operate. I call them non negotiables. They are the character traits or qualities you want to express through your words and actions. If I say something, I want to mean that what I say, right? A woman or a man of true core values. If I say I'm going to be there, I want to be there because that's part of my true core values is to be the man or woman that I say I am. Okay? Mean what I say what I mean. Okay, let's continue. Number 2, review the words listed here and circle the ones that resonate with you. Of those you circled, put a star by the 10 that best describes the person you want to become and list them in order of importance to you. Okay, now that's an assignment that I'm going to bring up again at the end of Read With Me. But right now, she's given the assignment. If you take a look at the book here, she lists all of these. Let me hold that up so you guys can see it. She has a list here, and let's continue to see what is it that she wants us actually to do. It says, going forward, consider your top 10 values to determine how to best use your time, money, energy, and other resources. A good question to gauge the integrity of any activity is, would this support my core values? Would this be something that I mean or that who I am, right? Knowing your core values puts you on the path to winning at being the next best version of your unstoppable self. Okay? So we have a whole list here. I'm not going to go through the whole list. However, I'm just going to touch on a couple so you can kind of understand what she's challenging us to do. She's challenging us to go into this list and to begin circling everything that's true to ourselves, true to your core values. Let me list a couple. She has ability, abundance, ambition, assurance, balance, boldness, bravery, clarity, charm, cheerfulness, okay? Consecration, confidence, daring, devotion, dignity, education, effectiveness, encouragement, experience, energy, faith, fairness, fitness, focus, freedom. I'm going through just a couple, okay? A few more. Guidance, intuition, let's see, learning, logic, love, loyalty, neatness, obedience, poise, pleasure, purity, quickness, quietness, silence, sincerity, supportive, trust, truth, vision, virtue, warmth, wealth, winning, wisdom, and the last one, the last two, is worthiness and zeal. There's 3.5 pages. Okay, I'm going to read that one more time at the end of this session so you'll see what she's challenging us to do. Chapter 3, win now. You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. Okay? How often, that's Maya Angelou, I might add, a letter to my daughter. How often have you heard, page 61, someone shout, why me? Have you ever been that someone Have you ever been so challenged and frustrated by life's reoccurring, perhaps seemingly constant struggles, that your only response to the unfairness of all of it is to throw your hands up and demand to know why? Okay? She says, I actually believe why me is a great question. Too often, however, it is used as a complaint or a cry of despair rather than as the powerful self discovery tool it could be. What if instead of a question of defeat, we use this powerful three-letter word, why, to discover the real problem? That's good. What if you ask, could things be the way they are because I am the way I am? She says, before we close out this section of the book, I challenge you to honestly, there's another challenge, evaluate the why. Okay. Now, let me warn you, this may not be pleasant. Okay. In fact, it may initially hurt or feel scary. But if you address the real problem, you can find, she says, the solution. Okay, let's continue. There are some great rules that you'll have to follow if you want to get the most out of this exercise. Rule number 1: no blame, no shifting, right? The success principles Jack Canfield and Janet Schweitzer make the assertion that your choices, page number 62, have led to your current circumstances. As unpleasant as it sounds, that means you have chosen to be in your current situation. To change your life, she says, you must change your choices. Blaming someone, your parents, your boss, the high school counselor who told you that you never amount to anything or to much, or something, the economy, the weather, the current political climate, will never solve your problem. She's literally saying to play the blame game will not, it's not the way to solve your problem, to get to the bottom of the why. Okay, let's continue. It says, become the leading actor in the unfolding story of your life. In fact, blaming others makes you powerless. So no, blame shifting. Okay. Rule number 2: take 100% ownership of the problem and the solution. Okay. Become the leading actor in the unfolding story of your life. Step front and center stage. Okay. Ready to do what it takes to find out my true why. Okay. Decide right now that you will take complete responsibility for any problem you're facing and its solution as well. You get to decide on wait, let me say that again. That tongue twisted me for a second. You get to decide on the plot twist, she says, and no one else can field and Switzer's rights. If you want to create the life of your dreams, then you are going to have to take 100% responsibility. That means giving up all your excuses. Hey guys, we have no excuses, okay? All your victim stories, oh my God, we have tons of them, right? Stories, all the reasons why you can't and why you haven't, up until now, and all your blaming of outside circumstances, people, and things. You have to give them all up forever. Surrender with me. I give them all up right now. Okay? All right, let's continue. Even if you sincerely feel that you haven't chosen your circumstance, you can make the choice to deal with them from a place of power. Simply by taking ownership of the solution. So remember, she says, not only are you not going to blame someone or someone else, you are going to proactively take responsibility for finding and acting on the solution. Deal? Good, she says. Take a me moment. Get your journal out and write down your most honest answers to the following questions. Keep asking why until you get to the root of the problem. Page number 63. Why aren't you where you want to be? Asking yourself that, okay? Looking at no one but inside yourself, she says. Why did you give up your power? Why do you consider yourself a statistic, she says? Why do you keep making poor choices when you know what the right choice is? Okay? Why have you bought into the lie that this is as good as it gets? Now, what choices are you going to make going forward in order to improve your life? Okay? She says, every choice counts. The battle is all over except the shouting. When one knows what is wanted and has made up his mind to get it, whatever the price may be. Say it with me. I've made up my mind to get it, whatever the price may be. That's Napoleon Hill. Now, she says, everyone, even the most successful person you know, wants something more, right? Better or different for their lives. The difference between those who grab on to the hope of possibility and use it to propel them and those who can't seem to get beyond the same old, okay, is not financial status or even intelligence. No, the difference between those who win and those who whine is nothing more than the mindset, the changing of my thought pattern, the mindset, okay? Winning is as simple as challenging and changing your mind. On a daily basis, you must choose between two very different psychological realities: powerless or powerful. Okay? Now, with all the discussions in the previous chapter about being true to yourself and living authentically, it may seem strange now to hear me say that in order to live better, stronger, to live better and a stronger life, you must now change the way you think. Okay? You must think for a change. So often, though, the challenges we face and the obstacles that keep us from growing unto all that we are created to become are not external barriers. They are barriers we have created in our own minds. Okay? Wow. When we change our minds and break down mental barriers, we become unstoppable. Okay? Wow. That is so powerful. Page number 64. Let's continue. To be clear, I am not asking you to change your core values or your identity. nor am I asking you to change your personality. I said earlier that I believe you are all uniquely designed. No two people are exactly alike, right? Trying to force yourself to become something or someone you're not is not only futile, but also exhausting. Wow. Why wear yourself out attempting the impossible, especially when the world needs the unique gifts only you can give? Even if you succeed in transforming the way other people perceive you, if you are not true to your identity, your personality, and your core values, you will always feel that something, namely you, is missing from your life. Okay? She says, what I want you to change is the way you think about yourself, particularly those aspects of yourself that you view negatively, emotional baggage, feelings of stress, inadequacy, low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, worry, anger, fear, insecurity, judgment will weigh you down and keep you from going as far as you like. Okay? Those feelings, which are all very real, are also very often a choice. I must repeat that. Okay? She says, those feelings, which are all very real, are also very often a choice. That's a choice to think and to believe, right? Get rid of your own self authored limiting beliefs about who you are and what you are capable of. Don't trespass on your own potential. Earlier, I touched on the fact that when we repeat our stories, they become bigger and more powerful in our lives. Lisa Wimberger, author of New Beliefs, New Brain, explains that neuroplasticity, the mind's ability to hold on to, let go of, and or rewrite stories, is an innate gift. If you're like most people, you continually and unintentionally use the ability to reinforce the things you don't like about yourself. Wow. Every time you tell yourself that you are not good enough, you strengthen that belief. Mm, that is good. Repeat it. Every time you tell yourself that you are not good enough, you strengthen that belief. Eventually, your actions, mood, and speech follow suit, and you begin behaving as if you're not good enough. She says, what if instead you choose to use the gift of neuroplasticity to your benefit rather than remaining on autopilot, page number 65, which won't get you where you want to go in life? You can form new positive mental patterns that will in turn change your actions, mood, and speech for the better. If you want to experience something better or more, you must be willing to change your mind about it. Regardless of your past, you can begin to win right now, she says. Right now. Everything you've experienced in your life started in your mind. Your current life realities begin as thoughts in your own mind. Yet, In spite of everything you have been through, you are here because you made up your mind not to quit or to lose, right? You are closer to winning, experiencing an authentic, healthy, hopeful, and successful life than you may have ever imagined, she said. In fact, the very moment you realize it is possible for you to overcome the obstacles that have blocked your path up to this point, wow, you will begin to see an improvement in your life. Okay, on that note, I have to take a sip of water because this is getting really, really good. This is going very, very deep for all of us. We are not judging each other. We are learning and uncovering and discovering these secrets that she has that's hidden in this book, which is awesome. Okay, so let's continue. But you must believe and act as if every day, and every choice counts. The truth is, you are always just one decision away from living the life of your dreams. Wow. What are you willing to fight for? You may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. Margaret Thatcher. Lisa Webberger opens New Beliefs, New Brain with this thought. Our lifespan is merely a blimp on a screen of vast earth and space history. We have a choice in how we want to spend that precious time. Some of us yield to pain, punishment, stress, and anxiety. Others fight hard to choose joy, love, and compassion. Yes, sometime we must fight our own selves to access joy. Wow. It is my belief that you don't get what you want in life, you get what you fight for. When you are against the ropes, you must fight back, she says. You must change your why me, page number 66, to try me. Wow. Decide that your success, your marriage, your children, your future, your happiness, your health are all worth fighting for. Living authentically can be a battle, but if you choose to stand up against the external and internal pressures that threaten to pillage and plunder your true self, you can emerge stronger, more resilient, and better equipped for the next battle. Oh, that is so good. She says this fight is about taking control of your own mind and choosing what you will believe and how you think and how you will respond. It's getting good, really good to me. I'm stumbling here. I'm gonna read that again. She says this fight is about taking control of your own mind and choosing what you will believe and how you think, how you will respond when faced with difficult or unexpected circumstances. You don't have to take up arms, but I do want to equip you with a few battle strategies so you can internally rewrite your stories and toss out the baggage that keeps you from excelling. She says, say I feel rather than I am. When you are waist deep in a stressful situation, one of the best things you can do is acknowledge your emotions. I'm sure you are aware of the fight or flight response the body and brain's automatic responds to stress or trauma. She says whether you're a police officer facing down an armed criminal or an executive who just got a call about a delay that is threatening to interrupt a critical delivery, doesn't matter. To the brain, stress is stress. When you feel threatened, regardless of the trigger or the severity of the potential outcome, your limbic brain automatic response is to protect you by throwing you into fight or flight mode. A surge of chemicals, including adrenaline and cortisol, rushes through your body, allowing you to respond quickly to danger. If you are actually experiencing a life threatening situation, your primal fight or flight response can save you. Okay. She says, for most of us, however, truly dangerous situations are rare, since the limbic brain doesn't distinguish between real physical threats and everyday stress. It's constantly flipping the on switch, sending in waves of adrenaline and cortisol when you don't really need them. The frantic pace of our lives sabotage our bodies, page number 67, so that the automatic life-saving response ends up doing more harm than good, according to the Mayo Clinic. She says the long-term activation of the stress response system and the subsequent overexposure to cortisol and other stress hormones can disrupt almost all of your body's processes. This puts you at an increased risk of numerous health problems, including anxiety, depression, digestive problems, heart disease, sleep problems, weight gain, memory, and concentration impairment. That's why it's so important to learn healthy ways to cope with the stresses in your life. Okay. Shifting your mental activity from the limbic brain, also known as the primitive brain, where your body and thoughts react automatically, to the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain where activities such as reason and logical thinking occurs, allows you to manage stress more effectively. Okay. She says one way to make that shift from reactionary thinking to intentional thinking is to simply admit what you are feeling. Or, as Dr. Daniel Siegel explains in his book, Mindset, the New Science of Personal Transformation, to name and tame the emotions you are experiencing. You can't and shouldn't deny emotions. Remember, she says the goal is to live authentically and transparently, not to wear an I'm fine mask while you're still seething underneath. Wow. So go ahead and acknowledge what you feel. Own it, she says, but don't become it. Refuse to let emotions control you. Okay? The next time you feel anger or fear or stress welling up, choose to take control of your mindset. Rationally address and deal with emotions. because those feelings are indicators of your truth, your core values. Okay? This can be as simple as taking a few long, deep breaths and changing your internal dialogue from I am to I feel. Consider the difference between saying I am sad and I feel sad. Page 68, let's continue. Writes Siegel, similar as those two statements may seem, there is actually a profound difference between them. I am sad is a kind of self definition and a very limited one. I feel sad suggests the ability to recognize and acknowledge a feeling without being consumed by it. Research shows that when you speak the words I am, as in I am so angry, I am not enough, or I am afraid, or even I am stressed out, you remain in that state for a prolonged period. In other words, as long as you continue to say, I am angry, or those other I am statements, you will feel and act angry, or those other terms. It becomes almost impossible to calm down. Now, saying I feel hands the control over to the rational part of, wow, the rational part of your brain, where you can think about how to deal with your feelings. Saying, I feel rather than I am is a simple technique that has an immediate effect on your brain's physical function, lessening the impact of the fight or flight response. And because the brain has the ability to learn new patterns of thought and behavior, if you practice this technique regularly, it will eventually, she says, become a habitual way of processing emotions. Wow. By developing the ability to focus our attention on our internal world, we are picking up a scalpel we can use to resculpt our neural pathways, stimulating the growth of areas of the brain, she says, that are crucial to mental health. Siegel explains, recognizing your feelings for what they are, sensations that may or may not be an accurate measure of the situation you're facing, always allows you to question them and, if necessary, change them. Revisit the exercises in Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life on page 32, often in order to displace negative, inaccurate feelings and thoughts with a positive solution focused response. That is super exciting right there. Let's go further. It may seem simplistic, but this small conscious battle for your beliefs and mindset can have a cumulative effect over time. Your immediate response to stressors will be intentional and rational, or emanating from your powerful state, rather than reactionary or imitating from a primal state. Imagine how empowered you feel when you have control over this part of your life. Page number 69. It will be easier, she says, to confront difficult situations, have positive, productive exchanges in your conversations, rather than arguing with your spouse or children. Deal with fears and baggage that weigh you down. Start using this battle strategy today, okay? And experience the difference it can make in your life. Take a me moment, she says. No matter how successful you are in life, success doesn't give you immunity from being human. We all have days when we don't want to get out of bed, right? When we are compassionate, when we are fatigued, or when we are just burned out. But what happens when this feeling lasts for days or weeks or months? What happens when you feel like you've lost your purpose? When you don't know what to do next, or when giving up seems like the best option, she says. Whether it's giving up on a diet, a career, a business venture, or a marriage. Over the course of my career, I've had many such moments, but I have also found that when I take a me moment, take a second, okay? Take 3, and privately rehearse to myself my why, it places a defibrillator on my passion and commitment and gets me going again. I am able, she says, to find my center, right? As Simon Sinek says, it all starts with why you started or engaged in something in the first place. What's your why, she says. Maybe you can't remember the last time you were happy. Perhaps your big colorful vision board has slowly drained its color and turned into an uninspiring black and white blah. Get back the clarity of focus and passion. Here's what I want you to do. Every 90 days, take an entire day or weekend to revisit your big why, to ensure you're on track and achieving what you envision for your life. We're going to stop right here on page 70, because what we want to do is we'll go when we begin read with me number 6. What'll happen is we'll begin again at page 70. But for right now, we want to go back and repeat the challenge that she gave to us. Okay, I want to repeat it because I really want you guys to begin exercising the secrets that we've uncovered today, which is truly a lot. Our core values, we need to understand and have good core values, positive core values that we know regardless of, okay? We live by. And that's what she asked us to do. She challenged us to, on page number 56, she says, what do we value, right? Okay, so I'm going to read these 3 steps once again before we end this session so we can all do and complete the challenge. It's always good for a challenge, okay? That makes us think within ourselves. That makes us go within ourselves, not outside sources, within ourselves to figure out our real core and true values, okay? She says, winning actions, what do you value? Your core values are the principles and standards by which you operate. I call them non-negotiables. They are the character traits or qualities you want to express through your words and actions. Okay? It says, review the words listed here and circle the ones that resonate with you, not your friends, not who they say you are, with you for yourself. Okay? Of those you've circled, put a star by the 10 that best describes the person you want to become and list them in order of importance to you. A little bit more. Going forward, consider your top 10 values to determine how best to use your time, money, energy, and other resources. A good question to gauge the integrity of of any activity is, would this support my core values? Knowing your core values puts you on the path to winning and being the next best version of your unstoppable self. Let's remember the why statement, okay? Let's remember why. Let's remember positive mindset, thoughts. If it's negative, do not receive it. Don't let it just cloud out your mind and flutter, because what happens is, she says, you begin to believe it and you begin to act it out. We don't want to do that. So we will continue reading with me. Our next session is number 6. We are super excited. So glad that you decide to join us today. And until next time, we want you to be blessed, challenge yourself. Don't forget the why statement, okay? And be true to yourself about your true positive core values. You have a blessed evening until next time.
That was exactly 45 minutes.
It was?
The thing went off.
Oh, I heard something, but I didn't know that was for me and Naya. I didn't know that. Thank you for that. That was good. Wow. Because, at first when I begin reading, I always introduce myself or what we talked about for the last session. That's not including the reading time. So that's why I try to say an hour, but I want to read for 45 minutes. In order to get through this book, I think we're going to have to. You get what I'm saying? So we figured maybe. It's not long at all, girl. We almost done. This is what we got left. And wait, and part of this is, I say 4 more read with me's or 4 would probably be done. These are notes. She gives you a chance to write notes and stuff. Yeah. Let me see how many. Okay, it says